At almost 70 years old, David O'Leary's story might seem like a wasted career that ended in hospital beds and bitter disputes. But the truth about this Irish football legend is far more remarkable than the controversies that overshadowed his later years. While his managerial career faced challenges, O'Leary achieved something virtually impossible in modern football, becoming an irreplaceable icon whose records will likely never be broken. Born in London but raised in Dublin from age 3, O'Leary's journey to greatness began at Arsenal in 1973. What happened next defied every expectation about football careers. At just 17 years old, he made his first team debut against Burnley in August 1975, appearing 30 times in his debut season. This wasn't just promising talent, this was the start of something extraordinary. O'Leary earned the nickname Spider for his elegant style and graceful movement across the pitch. Unlike other English defenders who favoured direct long ball tactics, he preferred passing the ball out from defence and building attacks. His calm, collected presence became Arsenal's defensive foundation for 2 decades. For 10 consecutive years, he was practically ever present, playing over 40 matches per season with only one exception due to ankle injury. The numbers tell an incredible story. O'Leary became the youngest player to reach 100 and 200 match milestones for Arsenal. He made his 400th appearance while still only 26 years old. In November 1989, he surpassed George Armstrong's long-standing record of 621 first-team games. His final tally reached an astonishing 722 first-team appearances for Arsenal, a club record that remains untouchable in today's football world. This statistical monument represents more than just numbers. It shows unwavering loyalty, consistent performance, and professional dedication spanning 20 seasons with one club. O'Leary never received a red card throughout his entire professional career, demonstrating remarkable composure and clean play. He adapted gracefully when younger players like Steve Bold and Tony Adams arrived, transitioning from captain to squad player without complaint. His trophy cabinet reflects Arsenal's success during his era. O'Leary was central to the team that won the 1979 FA Cup, defeating Manchester United 3-2 in a thrilling final. Though he experienced disappointment in cup finals during 1978, 1980 and the European Cup Winners' Cup final, his persistence paid off. Later in his career, he won a second league championship in 1991 and achieved the FA Cup and League Cup double in 1993. Even as a substitute by then, he was fittingly on the pitch for his final piece of silverware. But O'Leary's most famous moment didn't happen at Arsenal. It came during the 1990 World Cup in Italy, wearing the green shirt of the Republic of Ireland. His international career had been complicated, including a 2-year exile under manager Jack Charlton after O'Leary refused to cancel a family holiday when called up. This decision showed his principled character, prioritising personal boundaries even at professional cost. What do you think about players who stand their ground against management? Was O'Leary right to prioritise his family commitments? Subscribe and let us know in the comments below, because his principled approach would define both his greatest triumph and later controversies. Despite the friction with Charlton, O'Leary was included in Ireland's 1990 World Cup squad. Though initially down the pecking order behind Mick McCarthy and Kevin Moran, his moment came in the round of 16 against Romania. Entering as a substitute in extra time, he witnessed a tense goalless draw leading to penalties. With the shootout tied 4-4, Irish goalkeeper Packy Bonner saved Daniel Timofty's penalty, setting up the most dramatic moment in Irish football history. As commentator George Hamilton declared, "The nation holds its breath." O'Leary stepped up for the decisive penalty. With characteristic composure, he calmly placed the ball into the net, sealing a 5-4 victory and sending Ireland to the World Cup quarter-finals. This singular moment, voted the greatest in Irish football history, created a legacy more powerful than his 722 Arsenal appearances. The collective national experience of holding breath and erupting in celebration when the ball hit the net demonstrates how one heroic act can define a lifetime. O'Leary concluded his international career in 1993 with 68 caps and 1 goal, scored in a 5-0 victory over Turkey in 1990. The contrast between his club and international legacies is striking. Statistical immortality at Arsenal versus a single defining moment for Ireland. Physical setbacks ultimately shaped his career's end. A serious Achilles tendon rupture in 1988 2008 marked the beginning of his decline as an indispensable Arsenal starter. This injury allowed younger defenders to establish themselves and changed his role from key central pillar to versatile squad player. His sporadic involvement in the 1989 title-winning season often saw him deployed at right back, a position he handled with typical professionalism. After 20 years at Arsenal, O'Leary sought regular first-team football and moved to Leeds United on a free transfer in 1993 at age 35. Tragically, his Leeds career was brief. In his first season, he suffered a second career-ending Achilles injury that ruled him out for the remainder of that season and the entire following one. After just 10 to 14 appearances, he retired in September 1995 at age 37. The Achilles injuries bookended a career otherwise defined by remarkable durability. The first rupture ended his time as Arsenal's defensive cornerstone. The second ended his playing career entirely. However, this wasn't the end of his football involvement. O'Leary remained at Leeds as a defensive coach, providing the natural progression to his managerial career. When George Graham was appointed Leeds manager in 1996, O'Leary became assistant manager. This chain of events, from injury to coaching to assistant to full manager, demonstrates the logical development of his post-playing career. When Graham departed for Tottenham in 1998, O'Leary stepped up as first-team manager. His managerial tenure began brilliantly. O'Leary built a talented young team, leading Leeds to 4th place in his first season and 3rd the following year, securing Champions League qualification. The pinnacle came in 2001 when Leeds reached the Champions League semi-finals before losing to Valencia. This success was built on an extremely risky financial foundation. Chairman Peter Ridsdale implemented a strategy of borrowing heavily against future Champions League revenues, essentially gambling on continued qualification. During O'Leary's tenure, Leeds spent £90 million on players over 3 years, with wages and transfer fees among the Premier League's highest. The on-pitch success was accompanied by off-field controversy. In January 2002, O'Leary published Leeds United on Trial, documenting the court trial of players Lee Bowyer and Jonathan Woodgate. The book revealed that Leeds had hired private investigators and criticised the Football Association for freezing players out of England squads. Most controversially, he alleged that Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank refused to play unless becoming the club's highest-paid player. This publication deeply alienated fans and caused an irreparable rift with Chairman Ridsdale. O'Leary was sacked in June 2002, though he successfully sued for £2 million compensation plus legal costs. The financial model collapsed when Leeds failed to qualify for the Champions League in 2002. Mounting debts of £78 million forced a fire sale of key players below market value, dismantling the talented squad O'Leary had assembled. The consequences were so severe that doing a Leeds entered football vocabulary as a synonym for financial mismanagement, leading to rapid decline and eventual relegation. O'Leary's next appointment at Aston Villa followed a similar pattern. After initial success with a 6th place finish in 2003, subsequent seasons saw decline to 10th and 16th places. His tenure was marked by public power struggles with chairman Doug Ellis. In January 2004, O'Leary publicly criticised Ellis for perceived lack of transfer funding, noting 13 players had left while only 2 were signed. His contract was terminated in July 2006 after he was linked to a player's statement criticising the chairman. Though he denied instigation, an internal investigation concluded his position had become untenable. O'Leary's final managerial role took him to Al Ahly in the United Arab Emirates. He was sacked in April 2011 with 2 years remaining on his contract, but successfully won £3.2 million compensation through FIFA arbitration. This pattern of short tenures and financial disputes marked his transition from a graceful, stable player to a manager repeatedly at odds with club hierarchies. The recurring conflicts over resources and control revealed a personality shift from patient, loyal player to more combative manager. Since his last managerial role, O'Leary has worked as a television pundit for Al Jazeera and BT Sport while engaging in public speaking about leadership and performing under pressure. His continued connection to Arsenal as an ambassador reinforces his revered status among fans, who voted him 14th in their all-time top 50 players in 2007. O'Leary's legacy isn't a simple success story, but a complex narrative of contrasts. His statistical dominance at Arsenal defines him as a club club legend, while his iconic penalty remains a source of Irish national pride. However, his managerial career serves as a cautionary tale about modern football's financial risks and the complex dynamics between managers and club hierarchies. The lasting phrase, "doing a Leeds," ensures his managerial legacy remains a subject of continued analysis. Yet, his unbreakable appearance record and composed penalty under ultimate pressure represent achievements that transcend controversy. At almost 70, David O'Leary's career story reveals that true greatness isn't measured solely by trophies or management success. Sometimes it's about unwavering loyalty, record-breaking consistency, and grace under the most intense pressure when an entire nation holds its breath.